the authors are providing evidence against technology here, but somehow so the mental gymnastics is so strong with this one that they can prove at the end that technology and science are good things. So they can write books and get paid, etc. Once I have said that technology is a religion, so I will show you why I said that. Science and technology are forms of religions. I know this is not a thing you hear every day. And in my last video, I had a parody, and I also consider this current video as a type of parody, a comedy, very dark comedy, because the things that I'm going to tell you, this is a book. I'm going to review a book that is being studied in universities, in environmental engineering classes, etc. And this is a study book for students, and for anybody who is interested in environmental issues, environmental engineering. So let's see. This is the first chapter, and it is called the Pollution and Environmental Ethics. So we will talk about ethics in this chapter. And you know, some of you might know that I am giving lectures in university, and I will skip this chapter. I will tell what is wrong about this chapter and skip the chapter fully. And so at least the students can know what is wrong about all these. So this is like the justification of the whole book, and if this is wrong, everything else is wrong. In the same way, the ethics justification for environmental engineering is always like this. So that's why they just make up some excuses to write the rest of the book. So you will understand as we go. So here they talk about environmental pollution, and in this first chapter we begin by asking why we seem to have such problems with environmental pollution. Where do these problems originate, and what or who is to blame for what many consider to be sorry state of the world? So the authors know that the environment is in a very sorry state, and the world as a whole. Next, we discuss our environmental problems within the framework of ethics. Okay, so here is a picture, depiction of human excreta disposal. This is how they did it in the old times. So this is the person living here, and this is the feces, you know. And instead of, so when I look at this picture, the engineers see something is wrong, so they build sewage system, etc. inside toilets and sewage systems. And I see something is wrong, and I say get rid of this building that this human is living in, because this is not natural. So we have two different propositions for the same problem. But which one is right? Of course, my solution is right, because technology was the problem, and more technology, building sewage canals, etc., sewage systems, it will not help. More technology will not help. You can realize this by watching my documentary, The Connections 2021 short documentary, and I suggest the writers, the authors of this book, some of them are deceased, unfortunately. Fortunately, I mean, if you look at, you can have different perspectives, and some of them might be alive. I'm not sure, so they can go and watch my documentary. Let's see. The roots of our environmental problems. So when I first read this, I said, this is great. We are going to learn about the roots of our environmental problems, which I also mentioned in my documentary. The whole documentary is about informing people about this. But these are people who write books, so they must be very informed, right? We will see how informed they are about this. I mean, I don't know if they wrote this ethics section consciously, on purpose, like that, to mislead people, or maybe they don't know about such issues. I don't know. Maybe they are brainwashed themselves, and they are brainwashing the students. I don't know. So the authors write, much of the history of Western civilization has been characterized as exploitation, destruction, and non-caring for the environment, colonization, etc. Why are we such a destructive species? Good question. Various arguments have been advanced to explain the roots of our environmental destructive tendencies, including our religions, our social and economic structure, and our acceptance of technology. So when I was a teenager, I blamed religions. Early 20s, I blamed the social systems such as government, etc. And late 20s, I blamed the economic monetary systems. And now I realize that it is all about technology, because all these mass religions, etc., cannot exist without technology. They are all false solutions, and the technology is the one who is causing all these problems. So that's why I will skip religion. I didn't even read all these. I will skip social and economic structures, because we know they're just part of the problem. They're just part of the technological civilization, false solutions. So I will come here, science and technology. And here I will show you how religious it is to believe that you can solve with science and technology. I mean, I showed it in a much better way in my documentary, but I can show you once again by refuting the arguments of the authors here. They can't even be called arguments because, as I said, it is like comedy. I mean, a 10-year-old can debunk these so-called arguments. So the authors here are trying to justify technology, so like that they can write the whole rest of the book about pollution and treatment systems, etc. All these pollution control systems, and that's their work. That's their whole careers are built on this knowledge. So they can't just throw away all the knowledge that they have just because it is wrong, you know. So they need to fool themselves and others so they can keep believing in this religion. So let's see. Perhaps the problem is with science and technology. Maybe. This has become fashionable to blame environmental ills on increased knowledge of nature, science, and the ability to put that knowledge to work, engineering. During the Industrial Revolution, the Luddites movement in England violently resisted the change from cottage industries to centralized factories. As far as I know, Luddites revolted against the stolen jobs, so they revolted against automation because their jobs were stolen by the automation and they didn't like it. So that was kind of selfish movement. It wasn't about environmental degradation, environmental concerns about future of the whole environment. This was about jobs and income, money. I think maybe some of them had also other, environmental concerns, but so at least they were in the right direction, no matter their uh, thoughts were while starting this movement. In the 1970s, a pseudo-looted Back to Nature movement purported to reject technology altogether. However, the adherents of this movement made considerable use of the fruits of the technology they achieved. I don't know what is this word. First time I'm seeing. Like used vans and buses, synthetic fabrics, and for that matter, jobs and money. Now, the authors are trying to blame anti-technology movements for using technology. And that's not fair because even the wildlife can't live in nature in wild ways, in primitive ways. Even the wildlife is having difficulty living naturally. Even tribal people are having difficulties because the technology is expanding. Let's say in Amazon rainforest, the cattle ranching, livestock industry, and mining industry is cutting down forests, polluting the rivers, and everything is like spreading like wildfire. The technology is spreading like wildfire, and there is no place to escape. So there is no wildlife. We are in the midst of 6 mass extinction. People who blame science and technology for environmental problems forget that those who alert us early to the environmental crisis, like these people, were scientists. Sounding the environmental alarm is a result of scientific observation. So that's another weird non-argument because this is just saying science and technology is ruining the environment and causing environmental crisis, but also science is saying that there is an environmental crisis. It is like saying that someone is punching someone in the face and also telling that they are punching someone in the face. Does that make this person a good person? I mean, eventually they're punching someone in the face. You know, I don't know how this makes science and technology a good thing. Had we not observed and been able to quantify phenomena like species endangerment and destruction, the effect of herbicides and pesticides on wildlife, the destruction of stratospheric ozone layer, and fish kills due to water pollution, we would not even have realized what was happening to the world. Yeah, you would realize it when it hits you. You know, eventually when you will have so many problems, you won't uh, have water, fresh water to drink, soil to grow crops on. You will feel it, you know, eventually. Our very knowledge of nature is precisely what alerted us to the threats posed by environmental degradation. So as I said, these authors are trying to show the cause of the problem as the announcer of the problem. So because the cause of the problem is saying that okay, I'm doing this, then it makes the problem somehow okay. If knowledge is value-free, is technology to blame? If so, less technologically advanced societies must have fewer environmental problems. But they do not, really. The Maori in New Zealand exterminated the maa, a large a large flightless bird. Okay, so Maori, if the authors were honest, they would say the Maori traveled to New Zealand with canoes. Here you can see Maori people who arrived in New Zealand in several waves of canoe voyages between those dates. And canoe is a form of technology, you might agree, right? So instead of saying the Maori in New Zealand exterminated moa bird by technology, they are saying that I don't know what they're trying to say. You know, they should say that they caused the extinction of one species by using a form of technology. If they were honest, you know, objectively. And this is just one species. Now we are causing 6 mass extinction, not just one species. So we have more technology, more problems, more mass extinctions, right? I don't know how authors miss that part. There is considerable overgrazing in Africa and in America. Okay, what is causing the overgrazing? High livestock populations. Okay, maybe by using technology, humans killed the wild predators and also enslaved some animals that they call livestock animals, as if animals are stock. They're not objects. But humans also call themselves resources, as in human resources. So I don't have much hope for humanity. So, you know, technology caused this overgrazing by domestication, by many things, you know, by disrupting. If you don't have technology, you can't cause the overgrazing. You can't disrupt the natural balance that causes the overgrazing. So you can't, you know, have fresh water systems, etc. You know, and also stock for winter. If there is winters in America, let's say, you need to stock dry biomass so you can feed to quote in quotation marks livestock, and that's how you can have high populations. That's a form of technology to store in houses, in silos, etc. Let's keep reading. The ancient Greeks, and I forgot, like, now we have antibiotics and all kinds of technologies, the artificial breeding, and these are all causing the overgrazing. The ancient Greeks and Phoenicians destroyed forests and created deserts by diverting water. So, if these people didn't cut the forests by hand, by chopping by their bare hands, and carried water in their mouths or in their hands, in their palms, then probably they used some form of technology. And instead of saying that these technologies caused such problems, they try to show this as a defense for technology. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do this mental gymnastics, and I don't know how anyone buys into this. How when the students read this, I don't know, but people believe in many things, many stupid things. So I expect many people to fall for this BS, to be honest. Modern technology, however, not only provides water and air treatment systems, but continues to develop ways in which to use a dwindling natural resource base more conservatively. So the authors say that modern technology not only provides water and air treatment systems. So let's think about wildlife. Does modern technology provide fresh water to wildlife? I mean, we are in the midst of 6 mass extinction, and this is a kind of environmental book about how to solve pollution and how to solve destruction, how to engineer technological system so you cause less harm to the environment. And the authors who write this are so anthropocentric that they don't care about wildlife. They are just saying we supply water to humans and air treatment systems to humans. I mean, this whole book is about humans. So let's keep reading. But continues to develop ways in which to use a dwindling natural resource base more conservatively. The authors accept that the natural resources such as water, etc., are dwindling. The authors write this, dwindling resources, and the cause of this is the technological civilization itself. I mean, for billions of years, wildlife wasn't greedy and drinking all the water. Who is using this all water and other resources? So they're dwindling. The authors are providing evidence against technology here, but somehow the mental gymnastics is so strong with this one that they can prove at the end that technology and science are good things. So they can write books and get paid, etc. For example, efficiency of thermal electric generation has doubled since World War II. Okay, but if the electric generation didn't exist at all, then the environmental problems would be zero. So halving it is not an excuse to keep doing it. You could have zero. We know, the author should know better. Haven't they heard about Jevons paradox? That the increase in efficiency causes more consumption, so the consumption grows exponentially. I mean, they should watch my documentary. Here, again, I will show you the authors. If some of you are living still, you can just watch my documentary and promote this. This is important, very important documentary. See, okay. So let's keep reading. Food preservation techniques stretch the world's food supply and caused overpopulation of humans. The authors should continue like that and cause the population overshoot of humans. But they didn't write this. They just say this is so anthropocentric. More humans, more good. Oh, so nice, very nice. And modern communications frequently obviate the need for energy-consuming travel. Well, I'm sure modern communications are the basis of the global industrial system, so they can import from China and all these happened, including travel, all these transportations happened because of modern communications. And if modern communications never existed, we will have less travel because we will be living locally, and we will have communities, close, real communities, better, sincere communities, healthier communities. Anyway, and computer use has markedly increased the use of paper. And I will just show you some graphs about the world global paper consumption, and if computer use decreased any of that. So here is paper production consumption in million tons, and here are the years, and it is growing exponentially, and the computers had no effect on it. And especially when you consider printers, and then you can just press a button and print so many papers, then it is much easier than writing, and you can consume more papers like that. And also this is all kinds of paper types, of course, but this is going exponentially, and it will stop eventually when the whole civilization collapses, but so far it's exponential. And here is more recent data from 2006 to 2015, and only 2008, 2009 economic crisis affected and reduced the paper consumption, cardboard and paper consumption, and in 2010 it catch up and it is growing. So I don't know how authors claim that it reduced. Of course, this is an old book, but as we saw, there is, maybe they were writing it just here in 2075 or something, then that like there was or 70 80s, that there was a little small drop. Maybe they just set this for like based on 5 years observation or something. Like, I don't know, you expect better from a book that is intended for students. And also this edition is from 1997, so they should go and check that 1997, around here, it is obvious that this paper consumption is not decreasing. So when they made the 4th edition in 1997, they knew this, they should know this. The data was available that this is not right at all. This whole thing is quite like a joke. And that's how you keep a religion going. You teach students, and these people are like religious leaders in like churches or something. So you brainwash people. Those who don't question believe in it and keep spreading these disastrous dogmas, these lies, and that's very unfortunate. Oh, I forgot to. Sorry. Okay, so this is the name of the book. I forgot to. The photo was still up. Okay, so this is the name of the book, and yeah. So let me show you for the last time this documentary. Go and watch it. Thank you very much for listening. This was funny for me. I laughed a lot when I first read this chapter, and talking about ethics while defending technology is like talking about morals and ethics while defending non-veganism or like being anti-vegan. They can't exist together. They are in opposition to each other. Or talking about environmental well-being and technology, these are opposite to each other.